You finally get what you wanted. The relationship, the promotion, the achievement you've been chasing for years. And for about 3 days, you feel incredible. Then something shifts. The excitement fades. The satisfaction disappears. And you find yourself thinking about the next thing you need to be happy, wondering why this thing you fought so hard for doesn't feel the way you thought it would. Your mind told you that getting this would make you happy. It was so convincing. You could visualize how good it would feel, how complete you'd be once you had it. But now that you have it, the happiness your mind promised isn't there. And you're left wondering if something's wrong with you, if you chose the wrong thing, or if happiness is just not meant for people like you. Here's what your mind doesn't want you to realize. It's been lying to you about happiness your entire life. Not occasionally, not accidentally, systematically and constantly. And the reason you keep chasing things that don't deliver the satisfaction they promised is because your brain is designed to keep you chasing, not to let you actually arrive. We've been taught that our mind is a tool for finding happiness. That if we think clearly, set the right goals, work hard, and achieve what we want, we'll feel fulfilled. That happiness is a destination we reach through effort and accomplishment. And that when we're unhappy, it's because we haven't gotten the right things yet, or we're not thinking about our situation correctly. But that model of how your mind works is completely backwards. Your mind isn't designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive. And those two objectives are not only different, they're often directly opposed. The mechanisms that kept your ancestors surviving are the same ones stealing your happiness right now. And you can't fix the problem until you understand how the theft actually works. Your brain has a built-in feature called the hedonic treadmill. Psychologists discovered this decades ago, but most people still don't understand what it actually means for their daily experience of life. Here's how it works. Your brain adapts to positive changes so quickly that whatever improvement you make to your circumstances stops registering as an improvement within weeks or months. You get a raise. For a few days, you feel richer, more secure, more successful. Then your brain recalibrates. This new income becomes your baseline, your new normal, and suddenly you're not comparing your current financial state to where you were before the raise. You're comparing it to people who make more than you, or to what you could have if you got another raise. The improvement disappears, not because your circumstances changed back, but because your mind changed how it evaluates them. This is the adaptation trap. Your mind adapts to positive circumstances so fast that you can never actually accumulate happiness through achievement or acquisition. Every gain becomes the new baseline. Every improvement stops feeling like an improvement, and you're left perpetually focused on what you don't have instead of what you do have. And your mind tells you the problem is that you need more, when the actual problem is that your mind will adapt to more just as fast as it adapted to what you have now. Jessica spent 5 years convinced that buying a house would make her happy. She rented a small apartment, dreamed about having her own place, saved obsessively, and finally bought a beautiful house she loved. For 2 weeks, she felt incredible. She'd walk through the rooms feeling accomplished and grateful. Then it just became where she lived. The happiness she'd expected to last for years evaporated in days, and she found herself thinking about upgrading to a bigger house, frustrated that the thing she'd worked so hard for didn't deliver lasting satisfaction. She thought something was wrong with her, that maybe she was just never satisfied, that she should be more grateful. But there was nothing wrong with her. Her brain was doing exactly what it evolved to do: adapt to new circumstances so they stopped feeling special, and redirect her attention to potential improvements. The problem wasn't her gratitude or her character. It was that she believed her mind's prediction about what would make her happy, and that prediction was systematically biased to be wrong. Because here's what your mind actually does. It predicts that future gains will make you happy, to motivate you to pursue them. But once you have them, it adapts to them and moves the goalposts to keep you pursuing more. This served your ancestors well. The humans who kept striving survived better than the ones who felt satisfied and stopped. But it means your mind is essentially running a con on you, promising fulfillment it has no intention of delivering. And the con goes deeper than just adaptation. Your mind also systematically exaggerates how bad your current situation is and how good alternative situations would be. Psychologists call this impact bias, your tendency to overestimate the emotional impact of future events. You think getting rejected will devastate you for months, when it actually bothers you for days. You think achieving your goal will fulfill you for years, when it actually satisfies you for weeks. Think about something you were stressed about 6 months ago that seemed overwhelming at the time. How much do you think about it now? Probably barely at all. Your mind told you it was a huge deal when you were in it, but once you were past it, the significance disappeared. And 6 months ago, your mind was doing the same thing about something that happened before that. This pattern repeats your entire life, but you keep believing your mind's current assessment that this situation is different. This stress is real. This achievement will finally deliver lasting satisfaction. This is the significance distortion. Your mind distorts how significant things are in opposite directions, depending on whether you have them or not. Things you don't have yet seem extremely significant. Getting them will change everything, solve your problems, make you finally happy. Things you already have seem less significant. They're just your life, nothing special, not enough to feel satisfied about. And this distortion keeps you perpetually dissatisfied with what you have and over-invested in what you don't have. Marcus worked at a job he found boring and unfulfilling. He was convinced that switching to a different career would transform his life. More meaning, more satisfaction, finally feeling like he was doing what he was meant to do. He spent 2 years planning the transition, imagining how much better his life would be. He finally made the switch, and for about a month he felt incredible. Then the new job became just his job. Different tasks, different people, but the same feeling of routine, the same sense that something was missing. Because the problem wasn't the job. The problem was that his mind had convinced him the job was the issue, when the actual issue was how his mind evaluates whatever job he has. Any job he's currently doing will feel less significant than jobs he imagines doing. Any relationship he's currently in will feel less exciting than relationships he imagines having. Any city he lives in will feel less interesting than cities he imagines living in. The grass is always greener on the other side, because your mind is systematically painting your side brown and the other side green. But there's an even darker layer to how your mind steals happiness. It's not just that your mind adapts to positive things and distorts significance. Your mind also specializes in something called negative bias. It pays more attention to potential threats and problems than to actual safety and good things.
This kept your ancestors alive by making them hyper-vigilant to danger. But it means your mind is constantly scanning for what's wrong, what could go wrong, and what's missing, while largely ignoring what's right, what's going well, and what's present. You can have 99 things going well and one thing going wrong, and your mind will focus almost exclusively on the one thing going wrong. You can have a great day with one bad interaction, and the bad interaction is what you replay in your head that night. You can be in a loving relationship with occasional conflicts, and your mind will focus on the conflicts and question whether the relationship is right while barely registering the 90% of the time that's good. This is the negativity filter. Your mind isn't giving you an accurate picture of your life. It's giving you a filtered picture designed to keep you alert to problems and motivated to fix them. And that filter makes your life look worse than it actually is. The happiness you're missing isn't missing from your life. It's missing from your perception of your life because your mind is filtering out the evidence of it. Lauren had a pattern of feeling like her relationships weren't good enough. She'd be with someone who treated her well, but she'd focus on the ways they weren't perfect, how they didn't communicate exactly like she wanted, how they had habits that annoyed her, how the attraction wasn't as intense as it was in the beginning. She'd end a relationship convinced she needed to find someone better. And then she'd miss what she had once it was gone, because her mind stopped filtering for negatives and she could suddenly see what was actually good about it.
This pattern repeated 3 times before she realized her mind was the problem, not the relationships. Each person she dated had flaws, but also genuine strengths. When she was with them, her mind focused on the flaws and minimized the strengths. When she wasn't with them anymore, her mind did the opposite. She was never seeing the full picture. She was seeing whatever picture her mind's current bias was painting, and that picture kept her perpetually dissatisfied. Because your mind doesn't want you satisfied. Satisfaction meant complacency for your ancestors. And complacency meant getting eaten or starving or losing status in the tribe. So your mind evolved to keep you slightly dissatisfied, slightly anxious, slightly focused on what could be better. And that constant low-level dissatisfaction feels like there's something wrong with your life, when actually there's something right with your survival instinct. It's just making you miserable in a modern world where you're not actually in constant danger. So, how do you deal with a mind that's systematically lying to you about happiness? How do you find actual satisfaction when your brain is designed to keep moving the goalposts, distorting significance, and filtering for negatives? The answer isn't positive thinking or gratitude journaling or trying to trick your mind into being satisfied. The answer is learning to recognize when your mind is lying to you and developing the ability to not believe it. Your mind will tell you that getting something will make you happy. Recognize that as a motivational lie, useful for getting you to pursue things, not accurate about how you'll actually feel. Your mind will tell you your current situation is worse than alternatives. Recognize that as a cognitive distortion. Your mind always makes what you don't have look better than what you do have. Your mind will tell you that thing that went wrong is significant and worth hours of rumination. Recognize that as a negativity bias. Your mind vastly overweights negative events compared to positive ones. This doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue goals or make changes or pay attention to problems. It means you stop believing your mind's story about how much those things matter for your happiness. You pursue goals because the pursuit itself is meaningful or because the outcome serves a purpose, not because you believe getting there will finally make you satisfied. You make changes to improve your circumstances, not because you believe better circumstances will make you happy, but because better circumstances are better to have even if they won't change your happiness set point. Daniel learned this after years of chasing achievements that never delivered the satisfaction they promised. He'd accomplish something, feel good briefly, then immediately focus on the next thing he hadn't accomplished yet. Each time, he believed this next achievement would be the one that finally made him feel successful, and each time the feeling lasted days before his mind moved the goalposts again. He thought he was doing something wrong until he realized his mind was just doing what minds do. Once he understood the mechanism, he could see it operating in real time. He'd accomplish something, feel satisfaction starting to fade, and then watch his mind immediately start generating thoughts about what he hadn't accomplished yet, what he should be doing next, how this achievement wasn't as significant as he thought it would be. And instead of believing those thoughts, he'd recognize them as his mind doing its adaptation thing, trying to keep him striving. That recognition didn't stop the thoughts from coming. Your mind will keep doing what it evolved to do. But it stopped him from believing the thoughts were accurate assessments of his life. He could feel satisfied about the accomplishment even while his mind was telling him it wasn't enough, because he knew the not enough feeling was just his hedonic treadmill doing its job, not actual evidence about whether the achievement was meaningful or worthwhile. This is the disidentification shift. You stop identifying with your mind's constant commentary about your life and start recognizing it as a survival mechanism generating biased information. Your mind isn't you. It's a tool you have, and like any tool, you need to understand its limitations and systematic errors. A hammer is great for driving nails, but terrible for turning screws. Your mind is great for keeping you alert and motivated, but terrible for generating accurate assessments of how happy you should be. But here's where it gets really interesting. Once you stop believing your mind's lies about happiness, you can actually experience more happiness in your current circumstances. Not because your circumstances changed, but because you're no longer letting your mind filter out all the evidence of good things, distort the significance of what you have, and convince you that happiness is somewhere else. You're here, in your actual life, experiencing what's actually present instead of constantly being pulled into your mind's dissatisfaction narrative.
Think about a moment when you were completely absorbed in something, playing with a kid, having a deep conversation, solving a problem you found interesting, creating something. In those moments, where was your dissatisfaction? It wasn't there because your mind was engaged with what was happening instead of running its comparison and evaluation program. The happiness was there all along. You just couldn't access it while your mind was busy telling you why your life wasn't good enough. Sophia noticed this when she started paying attention to when she actually felt good versus when she felt dissatisfied. She felt good when she was present with what was happening, working on projects she found engaging, spending time with people she cared about, being in her body doing physical things. She felt dissatisfied when her mind was comparing her life to other people's lives, evaluating whether she'd achieved enough, worrying about things that might go wrong in the future, replaying interactions that didn't go perfectly. The difference wasn't her circumstances in those two states. It was whether her mind was running its dissatisfaction programs or whether she was actually engaged with her experience. And she realized she could be in the exact same situation and feel completely different depending on whether she was present with it or lost in her mind's stories about why it wasn't enough. This is the presence principle. Happiness exists in direct experience, not in mental commentary about experience. When you're actually engaged with what's happening, your mind's dissatisfaction programs go quiet. When you're lost in thought about your life, those programs dominate, and happiness becomes inaccessible, which means happiness you're looking for isn't in better circumstances, it's in being present with the circumstances you have, instead of being lost in mental narratives about why they're not enough. But your mind really doesn't want you to understand this. Because if you understood that happiness is available right now through presence, instead of through achievement and acquisition, you might stop striving so hard. You might stop constantly pursuing more. And your mind's entire programming is built around keeping you pursuing more. More resources, more status, more security,
More of whatever it thinks will keep you alive and successful, so your mind will fight your attempts to be present. It will generate thoughts about what you should be doing instead, worries about the future, replays of the past, comparisons to other people, evaluations of whether your life is good enough. And every one of those thoughts pulls you out of presence and back into the dissatisfaction narrative. Your mind is literally stealing your access to happiness in real time by pulling your attention away from what's actually happening into stories about why what's happening isn't good enough. Tom spent 2 years meditating before he really understood what his mind was doing. He'd sit down to meditate, and within seconds his mind would generate thoughts. You should be working right now. This is a waste of time. You're not doing this right. Other people are better at this than you. This isn't working. You're not feeling calmer. Maybe you're just bad at meditation. And he'd believe those thoughts and feel frustrated and quit. But eventually, he learned to recognize those thoughts as just his mind doing what it does, trying to get him to do something it considers more productive than sitting still. The thoughts weren't accurate assessments of whether meditation was worthwhile. They were his mind's attempt to motivate him back into action, because sitting still doesn't activate any of the survival programs that want him constantly striving and improving and comparing. Once he stopped believing the thoughts, meditation became easier, not because the thoughts stopped coming, but because he could sit there while his mind complained and recognized it was just noise his mind was making, not truth about reality. And that skill translated to the rest of his life, recognizing when his mind was generating dissatisfaction narratives and not believing them even while they were happening. This is the core skill for reclaiming happiness from your mind, learning to recognize your mind's thoughts as thoughts, not as truth. Your mind will tell you that you're not successful enough. That's a thought, not a fact. Your mind will tell you that achieving this goal will make you happy. That's a prediction that's systematically biased to be wrong, not accurate information about your future. Your mind will tell you that your life isn't good enough. That's your mind filtering for negatives and distorting significance, not an accurate assessment of your life.
And when you can recognize these thoughts as your mind is generating them, rather than truth about reality, you create space between your mind's commentary and your actual experience. In that space, happiness becomes accessible again. You can feel satisfied with what you have while also working toward more. You can notice what's going well while also addressing what needs improvement. You can be present with your life instead of constantly living in your mind's dissatisfaction narrative. But here's the final piece most people miss. Your mind isn't the enemy. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. And those mechanisms served your ancestors incredibly well. The problem isn't that your mind is broken. It's that your mind is optimized for a world that no longer exists. And the mechanisms that kept your ancestors surviving are making you miserable in a modern world of abundance and relative safety. You can't fix your mind. You can't make it stop doing what it does. But you can learn to work with it instead of being controlled by it. You can understand its systematic biases and stop believing its lies about happiness. You can recognize when it's running its dissatisfaction programs and choose to be present with your experience. Instead, you can pursue goals without believing the story that achieving them will finally make you happy. Rachel spent her entire 20s believing happiness was just around the corner. When she graduated, when she got the right job, when she found the right relationship, when she made enough money. And every time she reached a goal, happiness didn't arrive like she expected. She'd feel good briefly, then be back to feeling like something was missing, like happiness was still just around the next corner. By 30, she was exhausted and convinced something was fundamentally wrong with her. Then she learned about how minds actually work, and everything clicked. There was nothing wrong with her. Her mind was just doing what minds do, promising satisfaction it wouldn't deliver, adapting to improvements, focusing on negatives, moving goalposts. And once she understood that, she could stop believing the narrative that happiness was just around the corner and start finding it right here, in her actual life, in the moments when she was present, instead of lost in thought about what was missing. She still set goals and worked toward things, but she stopped believing achieving them would make her happy. She pursued them because the pursuit was engaging, or because the outcomes served purposes beyond happiness. And paradoxically, when she stopped chasing happiness through achievement, she experienced more of it because she was present with her life instead of constantly being pulled into the future by her mind's promises of satisfaction that never quite materialized. So when your mind tells you that you're not happy because your circumstances aren't good enough, recognize that as your mind doing its adaptation and distortion thing. When your mind tells you that achieving this goal will finally make you satisfied, recognize that as a motivational lie. When your mind focuses on what went wrong instead of what went right, recognize that as negativity bias. When your mind pulls you into worries about the future or replays of the past, recognize that as being pulled out of presence and into dissatisfaction narrative. And in recognizing these as thoughts your mind is generating rather than truth about your life, you create the possibility of experiencing what's actually here, instead of always being lost in mental commentary about why it's not enough. Your mind will keep lying to you about happiness. That's what minds do. But you don't have to believe the lies anymore. The happiness you're looking for isn't in better circumstances, better achievements, better relationships, or better anything external. It's in the ability to be present with whatever circumstances you have, without believing your mind's stories about why they're not enough. And that ability comes from understanding how your mind works and learning to recognize when it's stealing your happiness through adaptation, distortion, and negativity bias. Your mind is lying to you about happiness. It always has been. It always will be, because that's what minds evolved to do: keep you striving, keep you dissatisfied, keep you pursuing more. But once you see the lie, once you understand the mechanism, you're no longer trapped by it. You can let your mind do what it does while you experience what's actually here. And in that experience, in presence, without the constant mental commentary about why it's not enough, that's where happiness actually lives. Not around the next corner, right here, where your mind has been filtering it out your entire life, waiting for you to stop believing its lies and finally see what's been here all along.